Welcome. You're listening to The Best of Investing. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Patty Cohen. Mark Humph and Nam Fon are off today. Patty is a realtor with Compass Realty. Our phone number is 888-912-1190. Use that number to answer the trivia questions for a 5-pack tanning certificate given away during this show. And that certificate's not sponsored by the radio station, but by Tan Bella Tanning Salon with 2 locations in San Francisco and 1 in Marin. And today's trivia theme is general trivia. Now, we have a special guest. Our guest is Kim Rosen, who founded SHE College Fund, and SHE stands for Safe House Education. Kim, welcome to The Best of Investing.
I'm really happy to be here with you and my friend Patty.
And your friend Patty. Yeah, Patty invited you. And now tell us all about the SHE College Fund, because I understand it's in Kenya, right?
Yes. I will tell you, I could talk with you about it for about 6 months without stopping.
Well, unfortunately, our show only lasts an hour, but that's okay. Just talk really fast.
My heart sparkle. But the SHE College Fund was founded because of the courageous girls who have run away from female genital mutilation and early childhood marriage in Kenya. They ran away to a place called the Tesaru Rescue Center, which many people will remember as the V-Day Safe House. V-Day is a worldwide initiative to stop violence against women and girls. Okay. And they run away when they're between 8 and 16 years old, because that's when they're in danger of being cut and married off young. The Maasai, very rural Maasai, this is not true of all Maasai at all, and it's changing, thank goodness, but the very rural, very poor Maasai believe that it's not worthwhile to educate girls. And because they mostly only have money for boys, and they don't know about the capacities of girls. That's a really good question. There's generations and generations and generations and generations bearing down on these girls. And these generations say women are only good for supporting their men, for raising the children. The women build the houses. The women take care of the animals. The women do all the work.
And what do the guys do?
Well,
watch TV, go to the bar,
Yeah, no, not exactly. Really, most of them don't have electricity, but they,
no, I was kidding.
They do herd the cattle at times.
Okay.
And they also, they hang out together. It's a very interesting society where often you'll see the men and the women completely separately hanging out. So, for instance, I go to a Maasai village for Christmas when I can, pre-pandemic and hopefully post-pandemic. And it's the guys that make this very intense goat bone broth. They hang out all day around the pot, and they put in the herbs, they put in the medicines. They know how to do it. Okay. And it's really extraordinary. It's really extraordinary. So these girls go to the safe house, and they are protected by the law, because it's against the law to perform FGM in Kenya, but people still do it. Okay. They're protected until they're 18 years old or until they graduate from high school. But once they're 18 and or they graduate from high school, they're no longer protected. So that's where the SHE College Fund comes in. We raise money, and we raise mentorship and support and guidance to take these students who are now young women and get them ready for college, find them colleges, and see them through college so they can come back to their communities, which is beginning to happen, and show everybody the power of a woman.
And do you get much resistance from the political party?
We are in a very lucky situation in that by the time the girls come to us, they have been reconciled in a very beautiful, very big ceremony. They've been reconciled with their parents by the woman who runs the safe house, whose name is Agnes Pereo, and she is also the head of the anti-FGM board in Kenya. but the girl will be taken back to her family. Her parents will come, the whole village will come. There will be hundreds of villagers who come. Gifts will be exchanged, and there will be communications of peace and reconciliation.
Wow.
So when we get the girls, they are reconciled with their parents, and their parents want them to go to college mostly. And so that is a gift, because it's a win-win for every single person involved.
I mean, is it educating the tribes, because how do they know about you? And, they say, well, listen, this is why it's good for everyone to educate these women.
Well, the good news is, well, two things. One, on a very practical level, at this point, the She Fund only works with girls who go to one specific safe house in Kenya.
Okay.
And that's the V-Day Safe House. Someday it may broaden out to go to other safe houses, but right now it's those students. So the beauty is that the girls themselves educate the tribes. They are educated by the people who run the safe house, called the Tesaru Nitomek Rescue Mission. And those people, that means in Maasai, the Girls Rescue Mission. And they educate the girls, then the girls get reconciled with their parents. They go back to their communities.
Yeah.
They're the only ones with any money. They're the only ones who can speak English. They're the only ones with any education. And the community, I mean, Patty and I saw this graphically in a ceremony when we were in Kenya. The community will say, they stood up in a big community ritual and they said to us, we will not cut girls in this community anymore, because
wow, that's great.
Now Regina, who's the girl that was in their community, Regina has shown us the power of a woman.
That's great. I mean, I think it's almost like logarithmic, because as the more women do it, more of the tribe see it, etc. Hey, we're going to cut to our first commercial break, and here's our first trivia question. What geometric shape is generally used for stop signs? What do you call that? All right. Call 888-912-1190. The first caller with the correct answer is going to win that tanning certificate. Both of our guest and our co-host seem to know the answer, but don't answer it yet. Wait till we come back from break. All right. First trivia question again is, what geometric shape is generally used for stop signs? All right. Stay with us. You are listening to The Best of Investing. We're going to be right back.
Keep on this. It's great.
Welcome back to The Best of Investing. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with our special co-host, Patty Cohen of Compass Realty, and our special guest, Kim Rosen. All right, our first trivia question was, what geometric shape is generally used for stop signs? Anyone?
I don't remember.
I thought you said you knew the answer to
I'm
this.
messing with you.
I know. Am I allowed to answer?
Now you're allowed to say what is that? What's that?
Hexagram.
Right.
No, it's an octagon. Yeah, it's got 8 sides. That's okay. Well, the next one is harder, and then the last one's really hard. So we'll just embarrass you just a little bit. Okay, no, it's good.
Keep going.
All right. So our special guest, that is Kim Rosen, who founded the She College Fund, which stands for Safe House Education in Kenya. And I have also, just coincidentally, my daughter on the show here, because she's studying international economics at George Washington University, and just coincidentally happens to be working on a project about Kenya. So, Sarah, welcome to The Best of Investing. No, you can say you can speak up. It's okay. All right.
Thank you, Dad.
Yeah. Okay. So, Patty, how did you get involved with Kim in the project?
It's really word of mouth, but to me, it was such a no-brainer. So I was walking with a friend, and she mentioned she was doing this, and I instantly said yes. Part of what attracted me that we haven't even talked about is that this friend had a relationship with the girl in Kenya, like whether they were talking on WhatsApp or whatever, but you actually like mentor the girl, or if you want. And I thought, this is so beautiful because of the ripple effect that we talked about, the actual act of what we're doing for this girl, and that you can have a relationship with her. So I just jumped right in, met Kim. We went to Kenya. I was like on that trip, and it was absolutely amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you are absolutely amazing. You're yes. I mean, you are the true pulsation of yes in the world. And Patty said yes before she even knew what we were doing. She just knew, she knew it was trustworthy. And luckily, I feel she was quite right. And it's been a really, really mutually supportive.
So what have been your challenges, that you've had, either from the political people involved, running the state, the country, et cetera, or the locals?
Well, the challenges that I love, there are challenges I love and there are challenges I don't love.
Yeah.
The challenges I love, Patty will have experienced, is simply being culturally humble. The necessity for I'm going to say white people, although, at some point there will be African American people joining us on the trips and on the team. But for we who are coming from America or the Western world, to be culturally humble, like when somebody smiles, does it mean friendship? And when somebody doesn't look at you and leans back and looks kind of looks away, does it mean they're bored or rejecting you? No. And for me, this is such a profound inner purification process of getting conscious about the stories I attach to people's body language, for instance, and seeing how that can be so destructive when I'm trying to communicate on a heart level and on a very kind of survival level with people. And I'm reading something, for instance, as pushback that isn't pushback. Okay. It's just the inflection they use. And that's a constant growth edge for me.
From a communication standpoint, I presume a lot of them don't speak English until they're taught English?
The people we are working with do speak English. Okay. When students come to us, they speak it more or less, but theoretically they have been taught English during high school and primary school and secondary school, so they do speak English. Okay. They don't always speak it that well because unfortunately they don't always get to go to really good schools, because the Safe House is sending 50, 60 girls to school every year. They don't always get to go to the best schools. So sometimes they speak it well, sometimes they don't, but they all can get by.
And is it college? It is a college fund. So it's these young ladies have gone to high school.
We get them when they graduate from high school. They come to the She Fund, but that's a bad way to say it, as Patty will tell you, because part of what is important to me is that we maintain a very vibrant relationship with the girls at the Safe House, the younger girls, so that when they graduate high school, we know them and we can tell what colleges they should go to and how we can help them.
And what are they being taught in college? A specific profession?
Yes, that's the way most of Kenyan schooling works. You need to know when you go to college what trade or profession you're heading for. It's very different than the liberal arts perspective that we have in this country.
Almost like a trade school in a way.
It's almost like a trade school, although the students who get better grades in high school can go to a more in-depth kind of program.
Okay. Because they also may want to change, they think they want to be a carpenter and then they just said, nah, I want to be an electrician instead.
Yeah, I wish they had that kind of flexibility, and maybe someday they will, but at this point, if you do well in math, you're told you have to do this. Oh,
okay.
They have to get certain grades in order to do certain courses. And it's what I feel to be, it would be harsh for an American, the schooling system there.
Gotcha.
It might not be harsh for a Brit, but it would be harsh.
It is just, still kind of getting off the ground. How long have you been doing this now?
I've been going to Kenya since 2007, but the She Fund has actually only existed as and I've been supporting girls since 2012.
Okay, so that's only 8 years. So it's still kind of in its infancy. You can't expect
yes.
a whole array.
I'm talking about schooling in Kenya. The government is in charge of many things, and it's in charge of how much choice students have. in terms of what they get to study. So they're not really allowed to study in college what they're not good at in high school.
Interesting. Well, again, like you said, over time, maybe things will change, but
Yeah.
sure, uh, a lot further along than it was 15, 20 years ago.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's good work. Believe it or not, we got to cut to a second break, if you can believe that. By the way, Sarah, did you want to ask a question? Nah?
I don't have anything right now. But.
Okay. Okay. All right. Here we go. Here's our second trivia question. Pretty simple question. I don't know if you know the answer. Pretty simple. How many colors are there in a rainbow? We all know what a rainbow is. How many colors are there? Don't worry, you don't have to name all of them. Call 888-912-1190. First caller with the correct answer is going to win that tanning certificate. Again, a very simple question. Not sure if we have a simple answer, though. How many colors are there in a rainbow? All right, stay with us. You're listening to The Best of Investing. We have Patty Cohen, who's going to be talking about real estate. We're going to finish up with Kim Rosen, who is talking about the She College Fund, which stands for Safe House Education, and it's in Kenya. So exciting stuff. All right, stay with us. Best of Investing. I'll be right back. Welcome back to The Best of Investing. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Patty Cohen and our special guest, Kim Rosen. Second trivia question. How many colors are there in a rainbow?
I'm not taking it.
How many, Kim?
Oh, I'd say either 7 or an infinite number.
7 is actually the correct answer. We'll give you credit for that. Very good.
Ray.
All right. And Kim, you are with the She College, standing for Safe House Education, the She College Fund in Kenya. Patty, you wanted to throw in a couple of comments in there?
Well, you know, by the way, this is the best of investing.
Yes.
So when you support the fund, it's tax deductible.
Okay.
You know, that's for some people, they're looking for ways to contribute and what has the major impact and all that.
Yeah,
and the thing is, you know, I said it's all word of mouth. I almost felt like I had to have an invitation to be part of this. It's not all word. It's so far, a lot of it's word of mouth. But like, honestly, if I was listening to the show and I didn't know anything about it, I would call Kim. I would email Kim and say, how do I sponsor a girl? I want this so bad because of the ripple effect and everything.
And is that how it works? Do you actually sponsor a specific person?
There are many ways to be involved, many. And there is a website, which is shecollegefund.org. And they have a lot of information and some great movies of the girls. I always feel it's crazy that it's me representing them because they represent themselves so much better. But I will say you can either make a one-time or a monthly or an annual donation to the general fund of any amount, or you can sign up to support one of the students for 2, 3, or 4 years. And that's a contract, and if you want, we introduce you to the student, and I mentor the two of you to come together kind of as pen pals or connect with each other if you want. Some funders want that. Some funders, they're over their head and they just want me to send on letters from their student. Yeah. But Patty's had an amazing relationship with Nellie. It's been so wonderful to watch that relationship.
You know, I did that one time with they would pick the child for you. You know, could have been in the Philippines, could have been in Africa, wherever, and then you pretty much stay with that child. Yes. From age 5 on up until they were ready to leave the nest, so to speak. And each year you get a little letter and they draw a little picture and tell you how they're doing, and very interesting writing too, because like in Tagalog, I guess, was one of the languages, and just very interesting seeing the writing. And then fortunately someone interpreted it in English for me.
Isn't that lovely?
But it was really very, very cool.
And the thing about the She Fund, though, is that now in this age of technology, they get to see pictures of your family too, which is so broad.
Yeah, that's right.
They get to hear what's going on for you and how COVID is for you and how it's affecting you, right? And also, we get to video with each other sometimes. We just had the most amazing Christmas party with funders meeting their students. in video for the first time.
That must be very sweet.
So moving. Everybody was in tears. So.
How is COVID affecting where the college is?
Well, they're doing better than we are. I don't know what the reasons are. Kenya locked down instantly at the first 7 cases. The whole country went into lockdown. The problem with that is that I think a lot more people died of starvation because of the lockdown than perhaps might have died of COVID.
Uh-huh.
We created a fund that kept all of the families connected with the She Fund alive, literally, because they were not allowed to sell their goods anymore. So they needed food, clothing, and shelter. And so we figured we had to do something, and it turned out to do exponentially more good than we had ever imagined, because the girls themselves became leaders in the community because they were empowered by being given this money to support their people.
And if there was ever a time they were at risk for FGM, it was then.
It was then, yeah. And because they had, because we were able, thanks to our funders, thanks to people who made donations from $25 to $2,500, we've been able to keep them from having to be cut, because FGM is largely a function of poverty. People don't realize this. Yes, there's misogyny and there's ages of female oppression involved, but largely it's poverty. The family has to feed the other children, so they sell off the oldest girl. And the men who would buy a girl as his 3rd or 4th wife, they require FGM. It's tradition. So if the people have money, these things don't happen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just amazing. Okay, why don't you give out the website one more time, and
Okay.
we'll have Patty talk about some good stuff in real estate.
It's www.shecollegefund, one word, shecollegefund.org.
Okay. Kim Rosen, thank you very much for joining us on The Best of Investing. It's very interesting to hear about the She College Fund. Sounds like you're doing great work.
Thank you so much. Great energy here in this.
Well, we try. Patty always brings a lot of energy, which is great.
Yes.
Hey, Patty, I'm going to go right into an email that we received. It says, do you think we're at the peak and prices are dropping? What do you think about that?
That's a really good question, because it ties right into, is this a bubble? Which is basically the flip side of that question. And so a bubble is when people are exuberant and they pay ridiculous prices for houses, and we're starting to see that. However, that being said, and you know, I always look back to, like, how is this different than 2008, right?
Yeah.
Number one, there's prudent lending practices. In 2008, even if you didn't have to, you were getting a no-doc loan. Just here's the income, throw anything out there, and you'd get the same rate. It didn't matter, so why would I go through all that, right?
Yep.
So the other is, now people have equity in their homes. Then they did not have as much. And I think it's something like, I can't remember now, but I think it's something like 42% of people in the country own their house free and clear.
Wow.
I don't quote me, I mean, I'm not positive about that, but then I do know of those that do have a mortgage, 38% have at least 50% equity.
Oh, okay. That's
So
good.
you don't go, you weather it. If things go down a little bit, whatever. But this time, the housing supply is really limited.
Gotcha.
It's historic low. Yep.
All right. We're going to come back and break, and we're going to continue on with that conversation. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry. Hard breaks here at the Best of Investing, unfortunately. Okay. Third trivia question. Area 51 is located in which U.S. state?
Oh, that I know.
You know that one. Wow. Okay.
My partner's into that stuff.
Okay. All right. Call 888-912-1190. First caller with the correct answer is going to win the tanning certificate, which is worth over $100. Third trivia question is, Area 51 is located in which U.S. state? Stay with us. The Best of Investing is going to be right back. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, along with Patty Cohen, our special guest, Kim Rosen. Thank you very much. Area 51 is located in which U.S. state? Patty?
I mean, it's either Arizona, Colorado, right? Which one? Utah?
I thought you shook your head like, oh, I got this one. Nevada.
Oh, yeah. There you
Okay,
go.
well, that's close enough. You know, it's or one of the boarding
Over
states.
there.
All right. So, Patty, we were talking about whether prices were dropping or we at the peak, and you were talking about the equity that people have in their houses, and that there's not enough supply coming onto the market.
Yeah. And it's not like 2008. Prudent lending standards, lots of equity in their house. But this time also, supply is very limited.
Why is that? Is it because people don't know where they're going to move to?
Well, it's supply and demand. People are buying luxury, like there's more demand for luxury houses all over the country. People are buying second homes. They're leaving cities. So it's just booming. And people are spending more time at home. And you realize like you don't, and there's going to be commercial real estate for offices is a mess. You can't sell those buildings. Nobody's like, people will go back to an office maybe half time, maybe not at all. So you need an office at home. You need more space.
Okay,
So and you also want to get away.
What about then it sounds like a lot of people are leaving, quote, the city, smaller places and all that. Are prices dropping in places like San Francisco? And
yeah, I mean, not dropping, but condos are, because those are really close quarters. But San Francisco prices have gone up, but not as much as Marin and other places.
Okay. Well, this pandemic's not going to last forever.
I know.
So is it just kind of shooting from the hip? A lot of people just
well, human beings, we're creatures of habit. Once a habit's developed, and we're almost into a year of this habit, like the way we buy stuff is going to change forever. Like we don't go back, and a lot of things are a lot easier than they used to be. You just push buttons and things come at your door.
Yeah.
And you're like kind of like people kind of likes working at home.
I think our household is single-handedly making Jeff Bezos more than a billionaire.
Exactly. Yeah. And maybe people don't like that commute, and companies don't have to spend so much on offices. So there's a lot of things about our culture that are going to change forever. Now, in terms of interpersonal, that's another conversation that we've lost a lot of the juiciness in relationships and connections with people.
Yeah.
I'm becoming introverted, believe it or not.
but at some point, aren't employers going to see productivity go down, and they're going to ask people to come back to work?
We'll see. And it's already kind of happening, but people are going back to halftime and whatever.
Yeah.
But
and then once the vaccine is widespread. Like you said, people, they kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of liking this working from home. And, I got to say that I've definitely enjoyed the lack of traffic during, quote, commute hour. I mean, that part of it's very, very nice. And then even, going to like Trader Joe's, in the beginning it was hard because everybody was in line. Once that kind of got through its system, it's been a lot easier to just go in, buy something, and come right out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. You want to update us on anything else in real estate? You have some other stuff you wanted to talk about?
Well, I mean, even just since COVID started, prices went way up. Even since the summer, they've continued to go up. Like we're almost like seeing the first quarter of the year, like our fifth quarter of 2020, like gotcha. Nothing changed. Yeah. Multiple offers, crazy prices.
Yeah, I was gonna say with it's usually like during the spring selection type of thing, which has been, I guess, almost an all year round situation. Yeah. But again, the weather's going to get good, but then there aren't too many open houses per se. So
there's no open houses.
Yeah. So how does that work? Do people just do it all remotely?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just, again, I love this actually because the tire kickers are gone. The only people shopping are people that are serious. It's just a lot easier to do business. Like the sellers behave, buyers behave. Like there's less drama. People just see a house, they want it, they buy it. And, it's just so much better. It's so much better. And I think a lot of the way real estate is done is going to change. It's not going to go back 100%.
No.
Yeah.
I know that there was talk a few months ago about, is there going to be buyer's remorse for people who thought, oh, I got to have this second house in Tahoe, and then realizing, oh, maybe I don't quite need that.
I know.
What do you think? Do you think
Tahoe's on fire.
Still on fire. Yeah.
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 Yeah. No fire.
Yeah. Don't say the word fire. Yeah.
What?
Don't say the word fire. We know what you mean. It's being very popular.
Yeah.
Flying off the shelf, I guess, is a good
Right.
word.
And the other reason, and it ties right into what we're saying, is investors are out. Like, I mean,
Well, where are they gonna put their money? That's
mhm,
the big question. Interest rates are still low.
mhm.
Pacific private money is still going very strong. Paying as low as 7% and as high as 9% on some of the investments that they provide. So
Yeah.
they're actually doing very well. It's kind of interesting because there's certain aspects of the economy, like you're doing very well in your business, but someone who owns maybe an office building or a restaurant, not so much.
Well, the sad fact, and it's been a continuing trend for a lot of years, is that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. The people that are suffering the most, medically, financially, are essential workers
Yeah.
and making the least amount of money.
Yeah. But then if someone owns an office building, and
Yeah, that kind of hurts.
and that kind of hurts, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy with these rules about we talked about this before, with stimulus checks coming out. It would be great if they just paid the rent, right? Because that otherwise what's happening is you have, mom and pop landlords who are not collecting the rent,
Yeah.
and the stimulus checks are going for other things,
Yeah.
yet they can't kick them out and get a paying tenant, so they're being punished on top of all this, which is really
Yeah.
kind of unfair. Not every landlord is Bill Gates.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's I don't know. They gotta figure something out. And then you were mentioning Texas. The who is
Yeah.
the realtor of the year of Texas?
I saw something on Facebook. It was a big poster, Realtor of the Year in Texas. And the picture was huge, and it was Gavin Newsom's picture. Because
The
that is the
governor
place
of-
where most people are going. The state where the most people are going is Texas.
Yeah. And and I would think he would be realtor of the year, because there couldn't be too many people who could claim, yeah, I sent how many thousands of people to.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people have exited California.
I don't know. I read it recently. And the thing is, like, there's a lot of resistance from the people in Texas. They don't want to Californianize Texas.
Yeah. I mean, Austin is liberal, like San Francisco.
Yeah.
But then, I could see, prices just going crazy.
Yeah.
And they don't want that. They want a nice, somewhat steady, I guess is a good word for it. All right. We don't have a trivia question, but we do have to cut to another break. And when we come back, the Best of Investing will be back with some closing comments. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Patty Cohen and our special guest, Kim Rosen. Patty, before we let everyone go, you got to tell everyone how to get a hold of you if they have questions.
Oh, I'm a real estate broker with Compass. Patty Cohn. My email is patty, PATTI.COHN@compass.com. I'm based in Marin, 415-722-4842. And I help everybody everywhere. I mean, I don't get paid a lot of times I don't get paid. So I will contribute if you have a question, whatever you need. And if you know anybody wants to buy or sell in Marin, I am here.
Very good. And I just want to touch on Pacific Private Money for a little bit. They have 4 different funds. The first one is the most conservative. It's paying 7%, but it does take a $250,000 minimum, and pays just a straight 7%. They do very, very, very short-term loans. No fee to get in, no fee to get out, and there's no hold period. So you can actually put your money in this week and take it out in a month, no penalty. The other one they have is their flagship fund, the Pacific Private Money Fund, been around since 2013. It's paying about close to 7.5%. Again, buying mortgage, they're originating mortgages just like a real estate bank would do. And no fee to get in, no fee to get out. Minimum investment's $50,000. That one does have a 1-year hold. They also have the North Star Fund, which is strictly construction loans. That one has a minimum preferred yield of 8% with a target of 10%, and I believe that they've hit their target. It's a fairly new fund, been around for less than a year. That one has a $100,000 minimum, pays quarterly distributions, no fee to get in, no fee to get out. And then finally, the Pacific Southwest Fund, of which I'm one of the managers, that's got a preferred return of 9% with a target of 12, and we're actually hitting very close to the 12. And that one is primarily Texas discounted seller carryback notes. So someone sells a house but carries back the mortgage, and then they want to cash out, and we solicit them and we buy it at a discount. And that's why we're able to pay a yield of at least 9%. No fee to get in, no fee to get out, 50,000 minimum. But now there's always got to be a downside. The downside is the fund is so popular, we have $3 million of waiting, in a waiting list. So if someone called me up today and said, I want to get in that fund tomorrow, sorry, it's going to be at least minimum 2 months before we can use your money.
And you can use their money when people do loans, because that's a lot of it, right?
Yeah. So what ends up happening is people, they'll just email Edward at pacificprivatemoney.com and just say, hey, yeah, I heard about this Pacific Southwest Fund. I'm kind of interested. There's no obligation, but they can, we could put down like a reservation, call it a no obligation reservation. Hey, eventually when you call me up 2 months, 6 months, a year from now, and I'm still interested, I'd like to put 50 or 100 or whatever in. Yeah, we have one guy who he put in his order for 800,000, so it's going to be a while. We got to go through because all these loans are fairly small.
Wow.
You know, in Texas, it's not like California. You know, these houses are like 100 or 200,000. They're not $1 million houses.
Right.
So it takes a while to eat up, you know, $800,000 worth of someone's money. Getting, you know, that's 20 loans at
Wow.
$1,000 a pop. It takes a while to get that.
Wow. I think that you're going to have a lot of people from professional financial investors, the whole scheme. Once those people start getting their money, whatever left of it, hopefully they're going to want to put it.
Before we get out, Kim, you want to unmute yourself and give us your information one more time if people are interested in the She College Fund.
Yeah, if you're interested in the She College Fund and helping the students that are so courageous to have escaped female genital mutilation and early childhood marriage, you can go to www.shecollegefund.org, or you can just email me at info@shecollegefund.org.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, we're going to cut out, and here's our puns for the day. Why did the quote A, the letter A, go to the bathroom and come out as the letter E? Because it had a vowel movement. Okay, and so what if I don't know what Armageddon means? It's not the end of the world. All right, tune in next week to The Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away more free prizes for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, wishing you the best
of investing.
So long.